Have you ever wondered what secrets lie hidden beneath the layers of time, waiting to be unearthed from the whispering shadows of history? In the land of the rising sun, where cherry blossoms flutter like ancient spirits, the story of the samurai unfolds, a tale woven with honor, valor, and an undercurrent of brutality that defies the simplistic narratives often told. To truly understand the samurai, we must delve into the mists of early Japan, where the very fabric of their existence was entwined with the land itself. Here, the Yamato clan rose to prominence, establishing the foundations of a warrior class that would come to symbolize both nobility and ferocity. The earliest records from the 6th century CE speak of a society where warriors served regional lords, known as daimyos, navigating the complex tapestry of feudal allegiances. Yet it was not until the late 12th century, with the rise of the Minamoto clan, that the samurai began to carve their indelible mark on the annals of history. As the centuries unfurled, the samurai evolved from mere foot soldiers to elite warriors, bound by an unyielding code of honor, Bushido. But to grasp the essence of this code, one must peer beyond the heroism often romanticized in tales of glorious battles. Bushido was as much about loyalty and duty as it was about violence and retribution. It was a philosophy steeped in the teachings of Zen Buddhism and Confucianism, where the samurai were both warriors and scholars, engaged in the delicate balance of life and death. The archaeological site of Nara, with its sprawling temples and ancient shrines, serves as a testament to this duality. Here, in the shadow of the great Buddha, one can trace the roots of samurai culture, where spiritual devotion intertwined with the martial ethos. Artifacts unearthed from the region, such as bronze swords and ceremonial armor, reveal that these warriors were not only skilled in combat, but also steeped in the rituals and beliefs of Shinto, the indigenous faith that revered nature and ancestral spirits. Yet, within this tapestry of honor lies a darker truth, brutality that often eclipsed the ideals of the samurai. The Mongol invasions of the late 13th century provide a striking example. The samurai, tasked with defending their homeland against Kublai Khan's formidable forces, displayed unparalleled bravery, yet their tactics often mirrored the very savagery they sought to combat. The battles fought on the shores of Akata Bay were not simply clashes of swords, but cataclysmic encounters that blurred the line between valor and carnage. Here the samurai became both the guardians and the harbingers of death. Historians speak of a decisive moment in 1281, when the so-called divine wind, or kamikaze, swept through the Mongol fleet, an event shrouded in myth, yet deeply rooted in the samurai psyche. The samurai claimed this storm as a manifestation of their gods, a divine intervention that affirmed their status as protectors of the realm. But the aftermath of victory was seldom celebrated with purity. Tales of the slain Mongol warriors, their bodies left to rot on the shores, echo through time, casting a pall over the honor they sought to uphold. As Japan transitioned through the epochs, the nature of the samurai began to shift. With the establishment of the Ashikaga shogunate in the 14th century, the once mighty warriors found themselves entangled in a web of political intrigue and power struggles. The samurai were no longer just warriors. They became bureaucrats and estate managers, navigating a society that increasingly valued commerce over combat. In this tumultuous era, we witness the emergence of the samurai as a symbol of both martial prowess and societal complexity. Archaeological evidence from the ruins of castles, such as Himeji and Nagoya, reveals a fascinating juxtaposition, the remnants of grand fortifications built to protect, yet also to control. Here, in the stone walls and watchtowers, one can sense the anxiety of a class caught between tradition and the relentless march of modernization. The samurai were not merely warriors of the battlefield. They were a reflection of a society wrestling with its identity. In exploring these whispering shadows of history, we begin to understand that the story of the samurai is not a linear tale of glory, but rather an intricate dance of honor and brutality. Each archaeological discovery, each fragment of a battle cry, beckons us to confront the complexity of their legacy. As we delve deeper into the annals of this warrior class, we must ask ourselves, what does it mean to embody honor in a world where violence often reigns supreme? The answers may lie hidden, waiting for the brave souls willing to seek them out in the shadows of time. In the rolling hills and misty valleys of ancient Japan, where the whisper of the wind carries tales of valor and blood, the foundations of the samurai emerged from the loamy earth like the sword from its sheath. It was during the tumultuous Heian period around the late 8th to early 12th centuries that the seeds of what would become the samurai class were sown amidst a landscape of political strife and clan rivalry. Here, the interplay of noble families and the imperial court set the stage for the rise of a new breed of warrior, one forged not merely in the heat of battle, but also in the fires of loyalty and ambition. As the central authority of the emperor began to wane, the powerful clans of the time, most notably the Taira and the Minamoto, rose to prominence. These noble families were not just rulers, but also warriors, laying the groundwork for the martial ethos that would define the samurai. The term samurai itself, derived from the verb saburao, meaning to serve, encapsulated the essence of loyalty to one's lord, a principle that would become almost sacred in the warrior code. In the midst of this upheaval, the first known samurai emerged, their origins steeped in legend. One such figure was Minamoto no Yoshie, a warrior of extraordinary prowess and cunning known as Yoshiya of the Thousand Battles. His legendary feats during the late 11th century cemented his status as a paragon of samurai virtue. It is said that during the siege of the Kanto region, he led his men with a mix of fierce bravery and strategic genius, a foundation upon which the samurai ethos was built. Archaeological evidence from sites such as the ruins of the ancient fortress at Kamakura reveals much about the military innovations of these early warriors, from the remnants of wooden palisades to the foundations of battle-emblazoned castles. The very architecture of warfare transformed during this period. A new form of combat emerged, one that emphasized mounted archery, with the samurai adopting the use of the yumi, an asymmetrical longbow that became a symbol of their martial skill. The bow was not merely a weapon, but an extension of the warrior's spirit, and its craftsmanship reflected the artistry intertwined with the brutality of war. The samurai's arsenal was not limited to the bow. The katana, with its curved blade and impeccable balance, became the quintessential weapon of the samurai, forged with techniques that had been honed for centuries. The legendary swordsmiths of the Kamakura period, such as Masamune, began to draw out the spiritual essence of the blade, imbuing it with a sense of honor and destiny that would resonate through the ages. Each sword was a masterpiece, a testament to the belief that a warrior's blade was a reflection of his soul. Yet, the rise of the samurai was not without its shadows. The battles fought by these warriors were often brutal and unforgiving. The Genpei War, 1180-1185, epitomized this harsh reality. It was a bloody conflict between the Taira and Minamoto clans that culminated at the pivotal Battle of Dan no Ura. The tides of fate turned as the Minamoto triumphed, but the price was steep, with countless lives lost to the chaos of war. This conflict marked the dawn of the shogunate, a political shift that would see power shift from the imperial court to military leaders, forever altering the fabric of Japanese society. In the aftermath of this struggle, the samurai found themselves enshrined not only as warriors, but as custodians of a new social order. They wielded their swords in the name of honor, but also for personal gain, a duality that would haunt their legacy. The very notion of Bushi, the warrior class, began to form an identity that straddled the line between the noble and the ruthless. The ironclad foundations of the samurai were thus laid not just in the blood of their enemies, but also in the intricate tapestry of loyalty, ambition, and honor. Their origins were a paradox. They were both the defenders of the realm and the agents of chaos, embodying an enigma that would echo through the ages. The samurai were more than mere soldiers. They were the embodiment of an era where the clash of steel and the whisper of loyalty defined the very essence of life in feudal Japan. The shadows of their legacy linger still, haunting the halls of history with tales of valor, tragedy, and an unyielding quest for honor. In the heart of ancient Japan, where the echoes of the past entwine with the rustling leaves of sacred groves, there lies a hidden narrative waiting to be unearthed. It is a tale cloaked in mystery, one that begins with a figure whose very identity has been lost to the relentless march of time. This figure, believed to be the first samurai, rests in a tomb that has captured the imagination of historians and archaeologists alike. A mausoleum that guards secrets of honor, valor, and the brutal truths of a warrior class that would define a nation. The tomb in question is located in the sprawling prefecture of Nara, on a verdant hillside overlooking the Yamato River. Known as the Kofun, these burial mounds rose to prominence during the late 4th and early 5th centuries CE, a time when Japan was in the throes of transformation. Among them, one particular mound, a behemoth of earth and stone, has drawn the attention of scholars like a moth to a flame, igniting debates about the identity of its occupant. It is believed that this mound is the final resting place of Himiko, a shaman queen who ruled over the Yamatai kingdom, a precursor to the samurai era. The history recorded in the Nihon Shoki, Japan's oldest historical text, speaks of her as a figure of both political and spiritual significance, a woman who commanded respect and wielded power in a patriarchal society. Yet her story is clouded in ambiguity, and with it, the origins of the samurai remain elusive. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the landscape, archaeologists began their meticulous excavation of the Kofun. Each shovelful of earth yielded artifacts that painted a vivid tableau of the past. Bronze mirrors, weapons, and intricate jewelry adorned the grave, hinting at the high status of the deceased. These were not mere trinkets, but symbols of power and prestige, relics that whispered stories of battles fought and alliances forged. Among the most significant finds was a collection of weapons, swords that gleamed even in their tarnished state, their edges forged by expert hands, possibly the first incarnations of the katana that would later become synonymous with the samurai's spirit. The craftsmanship hinted at a burgeoning warrior class, honing their skills in conflict and mastery over the art of combat. But who was the individual to whom these weapons belonged? Was this the first samurai, or merely a forerunner to the warriors who would follow? As the site continued to yield its treasures, the intermingling of myth and history became increasingly apparent. The excavators unearthed a series of haniwa, terracotta figures that encircled the tomb. These figures, depicting everything from warriors to horses, served as both guardians for the afterlife and a reflection of the social structure of the time. They offered a glimpse into the spiritual beliefs that accompanied the samurai ethos: valor in battle, loyalty to one's lord, and the unwavering adherence to duty, all encapsulated in the reverberating echoes of Bushido. Yet, as scholars delved deeper, they encountered a conundrum. The historical record was sparse, and the line between myth and reality blurred like the morning mist over the mountains. The samurai, often romanticized as noble warriors, were also enforcers of brutality, tasked with maintaining order through force. The artifact suggested a complex society where honor coexisted with bloodshed, where loyalty was paramount, yet easily betrayed in the chaos of war. The tomb of the first samurai, therefore, is not merely a resting place. It is a testament to a time when the foundations of Japanese culture were being etched in the annals of history. Each artifact, each hanawa, each layer of earth tells a story of a burgeoning class of warriors who would come to define Japan amidst the turbulence of feudal conflict. In the end, the quest to unearth the truth behind the first samurai remains an ongoing enigma, a tapestry woven from the threads of history, legend, and archaeological discovery. As the last light of day surrendered to the night, the tomb stood silently, a sentinel of an age long past, holding secrets that may forever elude our grasp. And so the shadows of history whisper still, inviting us to listen, to learn, and to wonder at the legacy of the samurai, a legacy born not only of honor and valor, but also of the complex tapestry of human experience that defines us all. In the land of the rising sun, where cherry blossoms dance like whispers on the wind, there lies a tapestry, woven not just with silk, but with the blood, sweat, and tears of an elite warrior class known as the samurai. Their legacy, steeped in honor and brutality, is enshrined in the very soul of Japan, and at the heart of this mystique lies the venerable code of Bushido, a moral compass that dictated life and death, loyalty and betrayal, virtue and vice. The origins of Bushido are as elusive as the morning mist clinging to the mountains of Honshu. Scholars debate whether it arose from the Zen Buddhist ideals that permeated the samurai psyche, or if it was a byproduct of the feudal society that demanded unwavering allegiance to one S-Lord. However, it is undeniable that by the 12th century, as the first samurai clans emerged, the seeds of this code were firmly planted in the fertile soil of conflict and loyalty. The essence of Bushido is captured in its 8 pillars: righteousness, courage, benevolence, respect, sincerity, honor, loyalty, and self-control. These tenets shaped the lives of warriors like Takeda Shingen, a formidable 16th century general whose strategic brilliance was matched only by his profound adherence to these principles. He believed that a samurai's honor was worth more than life itself. Indeed, his famous saying, "To be brave is to be wise," became a rallying cry for his troops. In the shadow of these warriors, we find the haunting remnants of their lives and battles scattered throughout Japan. At the historic site of the Battle of Nagashino, where Takeda faced the forces of Oda Nobunaga in 1575, one can almost hear the clash of swords and the cries of men as they fought for honor on that blood-soaked field. Archaeological excavations have uncovered not just weapons, but also remnants of armor emblazoned with intricate designs, telling tales of valor and sacrifice that echo through the ages. Yet the code of Bushido was not merely a battlefield mantra. It was a way of life that permeated the very fabric of samurai existence. Rituals and ceremonies were crafted to reinforce these ideals, transforming ordinary actions into profound expressions of loyalty and respect. One such rite was the tea ceremony, or chanoyu, which transcended mere hospitality. Within the tranquil confines of a tatami mat room, samurai practiced the art of mindfulness, their very movements choreographed to reflect the harmony and respect that defined their lives. The ceremony was a moment of peace in an unforgiving world, a dance of honor amid the chaos of war. Yet the darker aspects of Bushido cannot be ignored. The same code that demanded loyalty and honor also sanctioned brutality and violence. The practice of seppuku, ritual suicide, was often seen as the ultimate act of loyalty and honor. When faced with disgrace or defeat, a samurai would commit seppuku, plunging his blade into his abdomen to restore his honor and that of his clan. The grave of Saigo Takamori, a leading figure in the Meiji Restoration, stands as a testament to this tragic tradition. His final act of defiance against the new imperial government in 1877 echoes the depths to which honor could drive a man, as he chose death over dishonor, embodying the very essence of Bushido until his last breath. As the centuries rolled on, the samurai faced an existential crisis. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 heralded a new era, one where Western ideals began to seep into the Japanese consciousness. The samurai class, once venerated, found their status stripped away, their code rendered obsolete. Yet even in this transformation, the spirit of Bushido persisted, morphing into a national ethos that would resonate through the ages, influencing not just military conduct, but also business practices, social interactions, and even the burgeoning culture of modern Japan. In the twilight of their existence, the samurai became both relics and symbols, their stories transformed into legends that would inspire generations. Bushido, with its intricate blend of honor and brutality, remains a haunting echo in the Japanese identity, a reminder that in the dance of life and death, the pursuit of virtue can be both noble and perilous. Thus, the samurai's relentless pursuit of honor, enshrined in the code of Bushido, remains an enigma, a paradox of devotion and destruction, a legacy that continues to shape the soul of Japan in ways both profound and mysterious. In the annals of Japanese history, 2 years stand out with a foreboding echo: 1274 and 1281. These are the years when the forces of the Mongol Empire, under the fierce command of Kublai Khan, unleashed their might upon the shores of Japan. But the true saga lies not solely in the clash of steel or the sound of war drums. It spirals deeper into the very essence of the samurai, their honor, and the dance of blades that defined an epoch. As the sun rose over the horizon on the dawn of November 19, 1274, the air was thick with tension. The Mongol fleet, a formidable armada of over 800 ships, had anchored in Hakata Bay. Historians whisper that the very ground trembled beneath the weight of the invaders, an echo of fear that reverberated throughout the archipelago. For the samurai, however, this was not merely a call to arms, it was the clarion call of destiny. At the forefront of Japan's defense was the legendary samurai leader Minamoto no Tametomo. A towering figure in both stature and spirit, Tametomo was known for his unmatched archery skills and military prowess. As the samurai gathered in the shadow of the hills, clad in their ornate armor, each piece a testament to artistry and status, he rallied his warriors with fervent words that swirled like incense in the morning air. "This is our land. This is our honor. Let not the winds of the Mongols scourge our shores." They were words steeped in tradition, yet they rang with the immediacy of survival. The initial skirmishes were fierce, as the samurai clashed with the Mongol warriors, who were accustomed to a different style of warfare. The Japanese defenders relied on their agility and knowledge of the terrain. Battles unfolded like a choreographed dance, a deadly ballet, where each warrior was both artist and executioner. They fought fiercely, drawing on the essence of Bushido, the code of honor that demanded loyalty, courage, and self-discipline. As arrows flew and swords met, the chaos of battle wove into the fabric of their identity. Yet, as the tides of war ebbed and flowed, another force emerged, the kami, the divine spirits of nature. The Japanese believed that the winds were favoring them, and indeed the gods seemed to respond. As the Mongols pushed forward, a storm, fierce and unyielding, bore down upon them. In what would later be termed kamikaze, or divine winds, the tempest shattered the Mongol fleet, sending ships crashing upon the rocks and drowning warriors in the violent embrace of the sea. The battle was won, but the whispers of the past lingered like an echo in the minds of the samurai. They had faced an enemy unlike any before, a blend of brutal efficiency and vast numbers that threatened to overwhelm their way of life. The victory at Hakata Bay was celebrated, yet the specter of a second invasion loomed large. Fast forward to 1281, and the Mongols returned, this time with a mightier force, over 4,000 ships and 140,000 soldiers. The samurai, now seasoned by their previous encounter, prepared once more to defend their homeland. The stakes were higher, the resolve stronger. Leading the charge was the venerable samurai Kusunoki Masashige, whose strategic brilliance was matched only by his commitment to the emperor. He gathered his forces at the shores of Kyushu, where the land met the sea in a tumultuous embrace, a theater for the imminent clash. The battles that ensued were marked not merely by bloodshed, but by a profound sense of legacy. As waves crashed upon the shores, both armies engaged in a brutal dance of survival. Samurai fought not just for victory, they fought for the very soul of Japan. Each strike of the katana was a testament to their resolve, each fallen comrade a reminder of the price of honor. As the winds howled and the rains fell in torrents, the kami intervened once again. The storm returned with a vengeance, devastating the Mongol fleet, while the samurai, bolstered by their faith and fervor, held their ground. In those moments, the samurai weren't just warriors. They were custodians of a sacred bond with the divine, defenders of a culture that cherished honor above all. The Mongol invasions left a scar on the collective memory of Japan, but they also forged the samurai into an indomitable spirit, a legacy of resilience. The battles were not only a matter of physical confrontation, they echoed the struggle between worlds, between the ferocity of foreign conquerors and the unwavering spirit of a nation rooted in honor. The dance of blades, with its intricate steps of courage and sacrifice, illuminated the path forward, carving the samurai's place in history as not just warriors, but as emblematic guardians of Japan's very essence. Amidst the misty hills of medieval Japan, the air crackled with tension, a palpable reminder of a time when honor clashed fiercely with ambition. The Ashikaga shogunate, rising from the ashes of the Kamakura era, was both a beacon of culture and a crucible of strife. It was within these turbulent times that the samurai, those stoic warriors bound by honor and loyalty, found themselves embroiled in a relentless struggle against their own kind, a rivalry that would shape the very fabric of Japan's history. The Ashikaga clan, led by the cunning Ashikaga Takauji, seized power in 1336, usurping the Kamakura shogunate and marking the beginning of an era rife with political machinations. Takauji, a man of vision and ambition, sought to establish a new order, yet his reign was marred by conflict. The rising tumult among the samurai class was inextricably linked to the shifting power dynamics, and tensions simmered beneath the surface, ready to erupt. In the eastern provinces, the loyalist forces of the Hojo and the remnants of the Kamakura loyalists rallied against the Ashikaga. The samurai, once unified under the banner of the shogunate, now found themselves splintered, their allegiances tested. The battle for supremacy was not merely one of swords and blood, it was a clash of ideologies and identities. The samurai were warriors of the sword, but they were also the custodians of a code that dictated their actions, the very essence of Bushido. As the Ashikaga sought to consolidate their power, they faced formidable adversaries. Among them was Nitta Yoshisada, a passionate and valiant leader who rallied the remaining loyalist samurai under the banner of the Kamakura. His triumph at the Battle of Minatogawa in 1336 was not just a victory on the battlefield, it was a resounding cry echoing through the ages, a reminder of the samurai's undying spirit and their unyielding loyalty to their fallen lord. This battle became a symbol of resistance, igniting the flames of rivalry that would burn for decades. The struggle against the Ashikaga was not solely marked by military confrontations. It was also an intricate dance of alliances and betrayals. As rival clans jockeyed for power, the samurai were compelled to navigate a treacherous landscape where loyalty was fleeting and deception lurked in every shadow. In this turbulent tapestry, the Takeda clan emerged, their reputation solidified by the legendary warrior Takeda Shingen. He embodied the samurai virtues of bravery and strategy, but his rise to power was fraught with peril, marked by constant skirmishes against the Ashikaga's forces. Archaeological evidence from this tumultuous period offers glimpses into the lives of these warriors, revealing the intricacies of their armor, weapons, and battle strategies. Excavations at sites like the ruins of the Nara prefecture have unearthed remnants of samurai armor adorned with intricate designs, signifying not just a warrior's rank but also the clan's aspirations. Each piece of armor tells a story of battles fought, of honor upheld, and of the relentless pursuit of power. Yet, for all their valor and resilience, the samurai faced an existential threat from within. The Ashikaga's centralized power began to erode the feudal structure that had defined the samurai's existence. As the shogunate shifted focus towards the arts and culture, the warriors found their identities in jeopardy, torn between the call of honor and the allure of survival in a changing world. The samurai were warriors, but they were also men of the land. And as the Ashikaga shogunate sought to impose its will, the balance shifted precariously. The rivalry culminated in the Onin War, 1467-1477, a devastating conflict that laid waste to Kyoto and left the city in ruins. This was not merely a battle for territory, it was a reflection of the fractured loyalties that had splintered the samurai class. Families turned against each other, and the once sacred bonds of loyalty were shattered by the relentless pursuit of power. The echoes of clashing swords and the cries of the fallen resonated through the streets of a city that had once been a bastion of culture and refinement. In the end, the struggle against the Ashikaga shogunate was a tale woven with threads of honor, betrayal, and resilience, a poignant reminder of the samurai's indomitable spirit in the face of adversity. As the dust settled over the smoldering ruins of Kyoto, the legacy of this rivalry would endure, shaping not only the future of the samurai, but also the very essence of Japan itself. In their quest for honor amidst brutality, the samurai forged an identity that would echo through history, a testament to the complexities of loyalty, power, and the human spirit. In the twilight of history, where shadows linger and whispers echo through the corridors of time, the samurai stood not merely as warriors, but as embodiments of a complex societal tapestry woven with threads of honor heritage and unyielding power. Their weapons and armor, forged in fire and tempered by the trials of battle, became more than mere tools of war. They evolved into symbols of status, identity, and the very essence of the samurai spirit. Picture, if you will, the forge of a master craftsman in 14th century Japan, the air thick with the acrid scent of smoke and the metallic tang of iron. Here, beneath the rhythmic clang of hammer on anvil, blades were born, each katana a silent testament to its creator's skill and the warrior's legacy. As the glowing metal was shaped, tempered, and refined, it was imbued with not just strength, but also a philosophy that would resonate through the ages. The katana, curved and sharp, became the signature weapon of the samurai, a reflection of their martial prowess and an extension of their very spirit. Archaeological excavations across Japan have unearthed a wealth of artifacts that illuminate this intriguing narrative. In the ancient burial site of the Kofun period near the modern-day city of Nara, archaeologists have discovered elaborate tombs adorned with weapons and armor, suggesting a deep reverence for the warrior class that would flourish in the centuries to come. These artifacts, often embellished with intricate designs and motifs, reveal the dual purpose of samurai weaponry. Functional yet fiercely artistic, they were both instruments of death and symbols of a warrior's prestige. One notable figure, Minamoto no Yoshitsune, a legendary hero of the Genpei War, wielded a blade that has since become steeped in folklore. His sword, the Kusanagi no Tsurugi, believed to possess divine origins, was not merely a weapon but a talisman of authority. The story of Yoshitsune's exploits, from his cunning tactics against the Taira clan to his dramatic downfall, exemplifies the intertwining of the samurai's honor and the mystique surrounding their weapons. His relationship with his sword encapsulated the samurai ethos. Victory in battle was as much about the blade as it was about the warrior wielding it. The armor of the samurai, too, tells a multifaceted tale. Crafted from iron plates laced together with silk, these suits were not only protective gear but also a canvas for displaying one's lineage and achievements. The armor worn by the famed Takeda Shingen, adorned with his clan's distinctive colors and symbols, served to intimidate foes and unite his troops under a banner of pride. The intricate lacing and lacquered finishes were not merely aesthetic choices. They demonstrated wealth, skill, and the vital connection between a warrior and his ancestors. In the fierce battles against the Mongol invasions in the late 13th century, the armor's craftsmanship became paramount. While the Mongols relied on sheer numbers and cavalry tactics, the Japanese samurai, clad in their expertly designed armor, showcased the synergy of mobility and protection. The battles at Hakata Bay are legendary, not just for their strategic brilliance, but for the visual spectacle of samurai warriors, their lacquered armor glinting under the sun, charging forth to meet the invaders. Yet as the centuries unfurled, the symbolism of these artifacts would shift. With the rise of the Ashikaga shogunate and the eventual unification under the Tokugawa regime, the military necessity of the samurai gave way to a more ceremonial role. As Japan entered the peaceful Edo period, the weapons that once sang with the clash of battle began to adorn the walls of homes and the shelves of collectors. The katana transformed into an object of beauty, revered for its craftsmanship, with each blade whispering stories of its past owners. The enigmatic duality of samurai weapons and armor also invites contemplation of the darker aspects of their legacy. The same swords that symbolized honor and duty also bore witness to acts of brutality, the enforcement of power through intimidation and violence. The notion of seppuku, ritual suicide, while a display of honor and loyalty, also reflects the brutal realities faced by those who strayed from the path of virtue. In this light, every blade and piece of armor carries not just a history of valor, but an undercurrent of fear and sacrifice. As we sift through the artifacts left behind, the story of the samurai emerges not as a simplistic narrative of honor and glory, but as a complex interplay of status, artistry, and the unrelenting echoes of war. Each katana, each suit of armor, invites us to ponder the paradox of a warrior class that, while revered, was also enshrined in brutality and the relentless march of time. Herein lies the enigma of the samurai, an eternal dance of light and shadow, where the remnants of their world whisper to us from the depths of history, urging us to remember, to learn, and to understand. In the twilight of feudal Japan, where the clash of swords echoed through the valleys and the air was thick with the scent of cherry blossoms, there existed a sanctuary far removed from the chaos of war, a realm where the art of the tea ceremony flourished, enveloped in mystery and grace. This was the secret life of the samurai, a world where honor was steeped not just in bloodshed, but in the delicate ritual of preparing and sharing tea. The tea ceremony, or chanou, was not merely a social gathering. It was a spiritual journey, a dance of harmony between the host and the guest, an intricate choreography of movements and intentions. It found its zenith in the 15th century with the teachings of the revered Zen monk, Sen no Rikyu, who emphasized simplicity and the profound beauty in imperfection. Rikyu's influence on the samurai was profound. He taught them that the heart of the ceremony lay not in ostentation, but in an appreciation for the moment. a philosophy that resonated deeply with the samurai's own code of Bushido. Amidst the tumultuous backdrop of battle, there emerged a curious juxtaposition. The warrior, often perceived as a ruthless harbinger of death, became a custodian of an art form that celebrated life and tranquility. Historical records reveal that prominent samurai such as Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate, not only participated in tea ceremonies, but also sought the finest utensils and tea leaves, recognizing that these rituals afforded them a semblance of peace and reflection amid their turbulent lives. Archaeological excavations at the sites of ancient samurai estates, like the ruins of the Matsumoto Castle in Nagano Prefecture, have unearthed exquisite tea utensils and pottery. Each item tells a story, whispering secrets of a time when samurai would gather in dimly lit tea rooms, the flickering light casting shadows on their stoic faces. These artifacts reveal a world where the samurai-a's connection to nature and their inner selves was nurtured through the careful preparation of matcha, the powdered green tea that became a cornerstone of these rituals. One of the most captivating aspects of the tea ceremony is the wabi-sabi philosophy that underpins it, an acceptance of transience and imperfection. This notion paralleled the samurai's own existence, where the fleeting nature of life was a constant reminder of their mortality. Surviving manuscripts from the Muromachi period describe how samurai would approach the tea ceremony with the same diligence they applied to their swordsmanship, each movement deliberate and filled with intention. The whir of the tea whisk became a metaphor for the samurai's focus, drawing them into a meditative state far removed from the brutality of their daily lives. Within the intimate confines of a tea room, the air would hum with anticipation as samurai exchanged not only tea but also philosophies, the weight of their unspoken thoughts hanging like mist in the air. The act of serving tea was a gesture laden with respect and camaraderie, one that transcended the rigid hierarchies of the battlefield. It was here that one could observe the layers of a samurai's soul being peeled back, revealing the gentle hearts that lay beneath their hardened exteriors. Yet this ritual was not without its intrigues. The tea ceremony often served as a stage for political maneuvering and strategic alliances. Powerful samurai would invite rivals to their tea rooms, cloaked in the guise of hospitality, while subtly probing for weaknesses. The eloquence of the tea ceremony, steeped in layers of meaning, allowed them to navigate treacherous waters of loyalty and enmity, all under the guise of shared tranquility. As the samurai class waned in power during the Meiji Restoration, the tea ceremony endured, evolving into a cherished cultural practice. Today, it stands as a testament to the duality of the samurai, warriors who wielded swords with skill yet found solace in the delicate act of serving tea. The echoes of their rituals continue to resonate, reminding us of the complex tapestry of honor, war, and humanity that defines the legacy of Japan's warrior class. In every cup poured, there lies a story, a whisper of the past, a dance of the present, and the promise of peace that transcends the ages. The secret lives of the samurai may have been hidden behind the steel of their armor, but in the humble act of sharing tea, they revealed the profound depths of their spirit, forever entwined with the land they vowed to protect. In the dim light of flickering torches, the air thick with the scent of incense and the distant sound of a shamisen, one finds the spiritual heart of the samurai, a world where the divine and the mortal intertwine. This is a realm steeped in the tenets of Shinto, an ancient faith that echoes through the valleys and mountains of Japan, a belief system that imbues the very fabric of samurai identity with sacred significance. To understand the samurai's profound connection to Shinto, we must first journey to the sacred site of Ise, where the grand shrine, or Ise Jingu, stands resolute and revered. Here, dedicated to the sun goddess Amaterasu, the shrine serves not just as a religious site, but as the epicenter of Japanese spirituality. It is said that the first samurai, the legendary Takezaki Suenaga, who defended Japan against the Mongol invasions, sought blessings from Amaterasu herself, believing that divine favor would shield him and his kin from harm. The act of seeking communion with deities was not merely ritualistic. It was a necessity, a lifeline that tethered the samurai to the ethereal, providing strength in the chaos of battle. The samurai's allegiance to their clans was often mirrored by their devotion to the kami, the spirits residing in nature, which they believed influenced their fates as warriors. Each clan had its own guardian kami, a protector that embodied their lineage's virtues. The Takeda clan revered the god of war, Takeminakata, drawn by the promise of victory in battle, and the assurance of protection over their warriors. This interweaving of spiritual belief and martial prowess illustrated a samurai's life. Each sword stroke on the battlefield resonated with the echoes of ancestral spirits, each victory a testament to the kami's blessings. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the land, the samurai would partake in rituals steeped in Shinto tradition. The practice of purification, or harai, was a vital prelude to battle. Warriors would cleanse themselves in sacred waters, chanting prayers to rid themselves of impurities. The act transformed them from mere mortals to vessels of divine will, embodying the perfect amalgamation of honor and ferocity. The samurai's relationship with the divine also manifested in the meticulous art of war itself. Strategies were often inspired by Shinto principles, allowing the samurai to align their actions with the will of the kami. The great strategist Yamamoto Tsunetomo, author of the Hagakure, spoke of the importance of being attuned to the natural world, suggesting that the successful warrior must understand the patterns of the wind and the whispers of the leaves. This sensitivity was not just a tactical advantage, it was a spiritual dialogue where nature revealed the thoughts of the gods. Archaeological finds also unveil the sacred connections the samurai held with Shinto. At the site of the ancient Kofun burial mounds, intricate grave goods have been unearthed, including ceremonial swords and armor adorned with symbols of the kami. One striking discovery is the bronze mirror, often associated with the goddess Amaterasu, believed to reflect truth and purity. Such artifacts illustrate that a samurai's worth was not solely defined by their prowess in battle, but also by their spiritual integrity and connection to the divine. As the Edo period dawned, the samurai's role transformed, and yet the echoes of Shinto remained. The Tokugawa shogunate, while politically secular, recognized the importance of Shinto in cementing their rule. Shinto shrines were established across the land, reinforcing the samurai's duty not only to their lords, but to the spiritual realm that watched over them. The practice of ancestor worship became integral, merging personal honor with divine obligation. A samurai's life was a tapestry woven with threads of both blood and spirit. Yet the dichotomy of war and divinity was not without its shadows. As the samurai faced the encroaching waves of modernization, their once sacred obligations began to fray. The Meiji Restoration heralded a new era, where Shinto became a tool for the state, leading to a complex relationship between spirituality and nationalism. The divine whispers of the kami were drowned in the clamor of a rapidly changing world, complicating the samurai's legacy. In the end, the samurai's story is one of honor and brutality, but also of a profound spiritual journey. Their lives were lived in the shadow of the kami, where the line between human valor and divine purpose blurred into one. The echoes of their devotion to Shinto continue to resonate in Japan today, a haunting reminder of a time when the sacred and the martial were inseparably entwined.
In the land of the rising sun, where cherry blossoms drift like whispers upon the wind, two forces stood as pillars of power. The Stoic emperors, guardians of the celestial mandate, and the formidable samurai, the earthly warriors bound by codes of honor. The juxtaposition of these two classes, intertwined yet often at odds, paints a portrait of Japan that is as intricate as the finest lacquerware and as ferocious as the clash of katana against armor. To grasp the duality of power, we must venture back to the Heian period, a time when the emperor reigned supreme, the embodiment of divine authority and a figure draped in silk and sanctity. The first emperor Emu is said to have descended from the sun goddess Amaterasu, a lineage that bestowed not just nobility but an almost unassailable position of reverence. Yet, as the centuries unfurled like the delicate parchment of an ancient scroll, the emperor's power began to wane, overshadowed by the rise of the samurai class, whose martial prowess and political acumen would reshape the fabric of Japanese society. As we navigate the annals of history, we encounter the first notable clash of these powers during the late 12th century, a period marked by the Genpei War. At the heart of this conflict was the Taira clan, loyal to the emperor, and their rivals, the Minamoto clan, who would lay claim to the shogunate military government that signaled a transition from imperial rule to warrior dominance. The legendary Battle of Dan-no-ura in 1185, fought upon the restless waves of the inland sea, saw the Taira clan met their fate, their pride sinking beneath the surface alongside the last vestiges of imperial supremacy. Here, we witness the birth of the samurai as not just warriors, but as stewards of the political landscape. Yet, it is not enough to simply outline the lines of battle. The nature of power itself demands scrutiny. The samurai, while fiercely loyal to their lords, were also bound by an intricate web of personal honor and societal duty, encapsulated in the code of Bushido. This code, with its emphasis on loyalty, courage, and self-discipline, forged a warrior ethos that often put the samurai at odds with the imperial court, which operated under a different set of ideals. The emperor, despite his divine lineage, often wielded more influence over matters of culture and spirituality. While the samurai busied themselves on the battlefield, brawling for honor and territory, in stark contrast to the samurai's ferocity was the emperor's world of poetry, calligraphy, and courtly intrigue. The Tale of Genji, penned by Murasaki Shikibu during the Heian period, illustrates the complexities of court life, a realm where beauty and grace masked the underlying tensions of power. The emperors became increasingly reliant on the samurai for protection and enforcement of their will, creating a symbiotic relationship punctuated by moments of betrayal and upheaval. Archaeological evidence from the ruins of Kyoto's Heian-kyu, the capital during the Heian period, reveals a cultural hub where the imperial court flourished. Here, the foundations of the imperial palace still whisper secrets of a time when power was a delicate dance performed under the watchful gaze of bamboo groves. In contrast, the remnants of the samurai's fortresses and battlefields tell tales of a more visceral power struggle, where the clang of swords and the cries of warriors resounded through the valleys. The dichotomy of their existence is captured in the juxtaposition of these archaeological sites, one, a testament to elegance and divine right, the other to martial prowess and earthly ambition, through the turbulent centuries that followed. The samurai continued to consolidate their power, culminating in the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate in the early 17th century, which would dominate Japan for over 200 years. The last shogun, Tokugawa Yoshinobu, eventually faced a profound dilemma as the forces of modernization swept across the nation. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 marked a seismic shift, as the emperor was restored to political power and the samurai class was disbanded. Their swords ceremoniously surrendered. In this final act, we see the ultimate resolution of the duality of power, where the honor of the samurai faded into the annals of history, eclipsed by the emperor's resurgence. Thus, as we traverse the ages, we uncover not just a narrative of warriors and rulers, but a haunting reflection of the human experiencer, perpetual cycle of power, conflict, and the quest for honor. The samurai and the emperor, forever entwined, remind us that in the heart of Japan lies a tapestry woven with threads of glory and grief, an enigma that continues to resonate through the ages.
In the quiet echoes of Japan's past, the samurai linger like shadows, their stories interwoven with the very fabric of the archipelago. Yet, as the sun set on the Edo period in the 19th century, a profound transformation began to unfurl, heralding the haunting legacy of a warrior class that had once been the vanguard of honor and loyalty. The fall of the samurai class was not merely a decline, it was a seismic shift, fraught with the weight of history and the turbulent winds of modernization. To understand this profound transformation, we must journey back to the mid-19th century, when the samurai's sword, once a symbol of power, began to feel the cold grip of irrelevance. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 marked a pivotal moment as Japan sought to embrace the allure of the West, shaking off centuries of feudalism as it aspired to modernize its military and economy. This ambition, however, came at a steep price for the samurai, whose very identity was bound to the martial traditions of an era now vanishing into the mist of time. The samurai's identity, forged in the fires of battle and loyalty, was embodied in the figure of Saigo Takamori, a man who epitomized the conflict of the age. A former samurai-turned-reformer, he initially supported the Meiji government's vision, but soon found himself disillusioned by its rapid westernization, which he believed corrupted the very essence of Japanese culture. In 1877, Saigo led the Satsuma Rebellion, a desperate last stand for the samurai way of life in the shadow of modernization. The rebellion, however, was crushed by the imperial army, armed with modern rifles and artillery, marking a tragic end to an era. The remnants of this battle can still be felt at the site of Kagoshima, where the echoes of gunfire and shouts of valor linger, haunting the soil that once birthed the samurai spirit. But the loss of the samurai class was not merely a battle lost. It was a cultural erosion that rippled through the very heart of Japan. As swords were surrendered and the wearing of the katana became forbidden in public life, a profound identity crisis ensued. The samurai, stripped of their titles and privileges, faced a future that seemed to mock their storied past. The government enacted the Hitori Edict in 1876, forbidding the wearing of swords an act that resonated as a symbolic severance of the ties binding the samurai to their heritage. The shadows of their once mighty presence began to fade, leaving echoes of honor that would not be easily forgotten. The archaeological remnants of this tumultuous period offer tantalizing glimpses into the samurai's transformation. In the ruins of the Edo castle, now a mere shadow of its former glory, we find artifacts that speak of this haunting legacy: a broken blade, remnants of armor, and scrolls detailing the last embers of Bushido philosophy. These fragments serve as a poignant reminder of a class that, while falling, left an indelible mark on Japan's national consciousness. In the hearts of the people, the samurai would transition from political power to cultural icon, a romanticized figure embodying honor, loyalty, and sacrifice. Yet, even in their decline, the samurai's spirit found new expressions. As Japan stepped onto the world stage, the virtues of the samurai were repurposed, woven into the very fabric of the nation's identity. The principles of loyalty and honor that had once defined the warrior class now permeated the ethos of modern Japan. Schools taught the virtues of Bushido, albeit in a context stripped of its martial connotations, reshaping the samurai's legacy into a symbol of national pride and resilience. The haunting specter of the samurai thus transformed from a warrior of the past into an emblem of modernity, inspiring literature, cinema, and art, where their tales continue to captivate the imagination. The samurai's fall was not the end. It was a metamorphosis, a haunting legacy that lingered in the collective memory of a nation. Through both the ruins of history and the stories that have come to define Japan, the essence of the samurai lives on, a testament to the complexities of honor, brutality, and the inexorable march of time. In the shadows of history, the samurai remain, enchanting, mysterious, and forever a part of the soul of Japan. In the twilight of feudal Japan, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the land was rife with the whispers of a class shrouded in mystery, the Ronin. These masterless samurai, dispossessed of their lords, wandered the countryside like restless spirits, their very existence a paradox of honor and desperation. To understand the Ronin is to delve into the heart of a culture that revered loyalty, yet, in the wake of political upheaval, cast aside its warriors like fallen leaves. The origins of the Ronin can be traced back to a time of shifting allegiances and the brutal realities of warfare. As the Ashikaga shogunate rose to power in the 14th century, the political landscape became a chessboard of betrayal and ambition. With the decline of centralized authority, samurai found themselves increasingly adrift. The battlefields were littered with the remnants of once mighty clans, and the code of Bushido that had dictated their lives began to fray. It was in this turbulent era that the Ronin emerged, a poignant reminder of the fragility of loyalty. Among the most renowned of these masterless warriors was Miyamoto Musashi, whose life and exploits have become legendary. Born in 1584, Musashi was not merely a swordsman, he was a philosopher, an artist, and perhaps the most enigmatic of a Ronin. His duality manifested through his mastery of combat and the tranquil beauty of his ink paintings. Musashi's life was a testament to the Ronin's struggle for purpose, as he roamed from village to village, perfecting his craft through duels, while also seeking inner peace. His treatise, The Book of Five Rings, offers insights into the mind of a warrior who transcended the mere act of fighting and sought a deeper understanding of existence. But the lore of the Ronin transcends individual figures. It is steeped in the collective spirit of a class that walked a fine line between honor and survival. The tale of the 47 Ronin is perhaps the most poignant narrative that encapsulates this duality. Their story begins in the early 18th century, when the daimyo Asano Naganori was coerced into a conflict with Kira Yoshinaka, a powerful court official. When Asano was dishonored and forced to commit seppuku, his loyal samurai were left adrift, bereft of purpose and lord. In an act of vengeance that would echo through history, these 47 Ronin, led by Oishi Yoshio, plotted to avenge their master. They traversed the complexities of loyalty, honor, and the harsh realities of their existence, proving that even in dispossession, a samurai's code could shine brilliantly against the dark backdrop of betrayal. The saga culminated in a dramatic confrontation at Kira's mansion, where the Ronin avenged Asano's death and brought justice, albeit at the cost of their own lives. Their execution was seen not as a failure, but as a profound statement of loyalty and honor, reinforcing the notion that a samurai's duty transcended the mere act of survival. Today, the site of their revenge, the Sengoku Jidai Temple in Tokyo, stands as a shrine to their legacy, where their graves draw visitors who seek to pay homage to these figures of moral complexity. Yet the life of a Ronin was not solely defined by honor and vengeance. Many Ronin resorted to desperate measures to survive, becoming mercenaries, bandits, or wandering monks. Their existence challenged the rigid social hierarchy of Japan, where a warrior was expected to serve with unwavering loyalty. In their disillusionment, they often engaged in acts that blurred the lines between honor and brutality, revealing the raw humanity within the warrior class. The Ronin thus became a mirror reflecting the struggles of a society in flux, where ideals of honor were increasingly at odds with the cold realities of survival. Archaeological findings, such as the remnants of Ronin settlements and artifacts, provide a tangible connection to this elusive class. In 1999, excavations in the ruins of the Takamatsu Castle, a stronghold of the Shikoku region, revealed not only weapons but also everyday items that spoke of the lives led by these masterless samurai. The intricacies of their existence echo through time, inviting speculation about their thoughts and emotions as they traversed a world that had cast them aside. Thus, the enigma of the Ronin remains unsolved, an intricate tapestry of honor, survival, and the quest for identity in a world that often did not recognize their plight. In a culture steeped in the virtues of loyalty and fealty, the Ronin stand apart, haunting figures flitting through the shadows of history, embodying the complexities of a warrior class forever caught between the ideal and the real. As night envelops the land, the stories of these masterless samurai continue to whisper through the winds, echoing the eternal struggle of the human spirit against the backdrop of fate. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the quiet fields of Japan, the once mighty samurai faced an epoch of unprecedented transformation. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 marked the dawn of modernization, and with it came the winds of change that would sweep away a way of life steeped in honor, discipline, and bloodshed. This chapter of history is not merely a tale of defeat, but a complex tapestry woven with threads of resilience, identity, and the haunting echoes of an era long past. In the years following the Restoration, the samurai, traditionally viewed as the stalwart guardians of the realm, found themselves caught in a storm of social upheaval. With the abolition of the feudal system, the privileges that had long defined their existence began to erode. The imperial decree that disbanded the samurai class was not merely a political maneuver, it was a philosophical shift that questioned the very essence of honor and loyalty. In this new landscape, the samurai's identity was put to the test. What did it mean to be a warrior in a society that no longer revered the blade? Among the most poignant figures of this tumultuous era was Saigo Takamori, a former samurai turned leader of the Satsuma Rebellion. A man of considerable intellect and charisma, Saigo emerged as a symbol of the samurai's struggle against the encroaching tide of modernization. His vision was rooted in the belief that Japan could embrace progress while preserving the values that had long defined its warrior class. However, as he rallied his fellow samurai in 1877 against the imperial forces, The rebellion transformed into a tragic and bloody confrontation, a final stand for a fading way of life. The clash at Kumamoto Castle stands as a haunting testament to this struggle. The castle, a formidable structure with walls that had witnessed centuries of conflict, became the backdrop for the samurai's last desperate attempt to reclaim their honor. The siege lasted for weeks, punctuated by the sound of cannon fire and the cries of warriors. In the end, Saigo's forces, once proud and resolute, were overwhelmed by a modernized military equipped with rifles and artillery. The samurai's traditional tactics, honed through generations, proved no match for the firepower of the new age. Yet the fall of the samurai was not merely a story of defeat, it was a tale of transformation. Many samurai, rather than cling to their swords, adapted to the changing times. The famed Meiji statesman Ito Hirobumi, himself of samurai lineage, became a pivotal figure in shaping Japan's new government. He understood that the essence of the samurai, discipline, loyalty, and a sense of duty, could be refashioned for the modern state. Thus, the samurai spirit, rather than vanishing, seeped into the very fabric of the nation's identity. Archaeological evidence from this period reveals the profound impact of the samurai's transition. Artifacts such as ceremonial swords and tachi, long, curved swords that symbolized the samurai's status, have been unearthed in sites like the ancient battlegrounds of Satsuma, where the rebellion took place. These objects, once instruments of war, now serve as poignant reminders of a class that struggled to exist in a world that demanded new definitions of honor and valor. As Japan embraced industrialization, the samurai's legacy evolved into various forms. The martial arts, for instance, transformed from battlefield techniques into disciplines practiced for health, spiritual growth, and cultural preservation. Kendo and Iaido emerged as modern expressions of the samurai's ethos, emphasizing not just physical prowess, but mental fortitude, an echo of the Bushido code that had once governed their lives. In the shadows of modernization, the samurai did not vanish entirely. They adapted, leaving behind an indelible mark on Japanese society. The uniforms of the military, the discipline of the police force, and the very governance of the nation bore the fingerprints of a warrior class that had once roamed the land with swords drawn. Even in their absence, the spirit of the samurai continued to inspire generations, shaping a national identity that blended tradition with progress. As the twilight of the samurai drew near, their story became an enigma, a paradox of honor lost and honor transformed, a brutality tempered by resilience. The last stand of the samurai was not merely a battle fought on the fields of Kumamoto. It was a battle for the soul of Japan itself, a fight against the inexorable march of time. And as the echoes of their blades faded into history, the honor of the samurai endured, whispering through the ages, a testament to a legacy that would not be forgotten. In the verdant valleys and mist-covered mountains of Japan, the whispers of the past beckon like the soft rustle of silk in the night. Shadows dance across ancient stones where the remnants of the samurai linger, waiting to unveil their secrets. The stories of these noble warriors are not merely etched in scrolls, but carved into the very earth itself, buried beneath layers of time, awaiting discovery by those brave enough to unearth them. In the early 20th century, an extraordinary archaeological site emerged from the depths of history in the Kyoto prefecture, a site that would provide a window into the heart of samurai culture. The burial mound of the warrior Takeda Shingen, known as the Tiger of Kai, revealed a trove of artifacts that spoke of both glory and brutality. As archaeologists meticulously excavated this grand tomb, they unearthed armor adorned with intricate designs, the sheen of blades that once sang through the air, and the silent witnesses of a life lived in the throes of battle. Each artifact whispered tales of valor, family loyalty, and the relentless pursuit of honor that defined the samurai ethos. Yet it was not just the weapons and armors that caught the attention of historians, but the more personal items that told of the samurai's duality: warriors and poets, defenders and philosophers. Among the items, a lacquered box containing a collection of beautifully inscribed haiku was found, revealing a softer side of the ferocious warrior. Such discoveries challenged the rigid perceptions of the samurai, offering a glimpse into the minds of men who wielded swords with deadly precision while contemplating the fleeting beauty of cherry blossoms. As the years progressed, the excavations at the site of the ancient capital of Nara unveiled more enigmatic layers of the samurai's social fabric. The discovery of a collection of wooden tablets, known as mokan, inscribed with records of land ownership and military service, illuminated the complex hierarchies that defined samurai society. These tablets, dating back to the 8th century, offered insights into the integration of local clans and their relationships with the imperial court. The power dynamics hinted at within these inscriptions reflected a world where loyalty was both a currency and a weapon, traded and forged through blood and honor. But not all the stories unearthed are steeped in nobility. In the rugged terrain of the Kanto region, an excavation at the site of an old battlefield revealed the remnants of slain warriors, their bones intertwined in a grim embrace. This site, marked forever by the tumultuous battles of the Genpei War, served as a somber reminder of the samurai's brutal reality. Here, amidst the skeletal remains, archaeologists uncovered artifacts that hinted at the savage nature of conflict: sword pommels stained with rust and fragments of armor, battered and bent. These relics tell of lives extinguished in an instant, of the fleeting nature of honor in a world dominated by bloodshed and ambition. In the quietude of these archaeological finds, the samurai's legacy emerges, painted in both vivid hues of honor and shadowed tones of brutality. The artifacts serve as a mirror reflecting their complex existence. They were not merely warriors, they were custodians of a tradition steeped in a philosophy that both exalted the ideal of Bushido, the way of the warrior, and reminded them of the sacrifices it demanded. As historians and archaeologists continue to sift through the whispers of the past, the question arises: how do these discoveries reshape our understanding of the samurai? The answer lies in the delicate interplay between myth and reality. The tales of chivalry and honor are interwoven with the harsh truths of warfare, where the line between heroism and tragedy often blurs. Each site unearthed, every artifact revealed, adds a layer of complexity to the samurai narrative, challenging modern perceptions and inviting us to explore the enigma that is the samurai. In this haunting dance of history, where shadows flicker and fade, the samurai emerge not just as warriors, but as embodiments of a culture that revered strength, yet feared the ephemeral nature of life. Their legacy immortalized in the dust of their battlefields and the whispers of their haikus continues to resonate through time, drawing us into the labyrinth of their existence, a testament to a world both beautiful and brutal, forever shrouded in the mystique of their honor. In the heart of modern Japan, amid the cacophony of bustling cities and the sleek lines of contemporary architecture, echoes of the samurai whisper through the corridors of time. The samurai, a class that once ruled the land with swords and codes of honor, has left an indelible mark on the cultural fabric of this nation, their spirit still palpable in the ethos of Japanese society. To grasp their enduring legacy, one must traverse the landscapes where these warriors once danced their deadly ballet of steel and skill. Kyoto, with its ancient temples and serene gardens, encapsulates the spiritual heart of the samurai. It was here that the legendary Minamoto no Yoshitsune, a figure both revered and romanticized, forged his reputation during the Genpei War, 1180-1155. His exploits are immortalized in countless tales and plays, where his valor and tragic fate mirror the ideals of the samurai. In the shadows of the Kinkakuji, the golden pavilion, one can almost hear the whispers of his ghost, a reminder of the sacrifices and the honor that marked an age long gone. However, the samurai's spirit transcends mere legend. It manifests in the Japanese concept of ganbaru, a term that encapsulates perseverance in the face of adversity, a trait that the samurai embodied in both life and death. This tenacity has shaped modern Japanese work culture, where the echoes of loyalty to one's master resonate in corporate offices, and sacrifice for the collective good remains an unwritten rule. Yet, the most tangible remnants of the samurai's influence lie in the martial arts, which continue to flourish as a testament to their legacy. Kendo and Aikido, for example, are not merely sports, they are spiritual practices steeped in history. Practitioners pay homage to the samurai's discipline and mastery over the sword, channeling the essence of their forebears in every movement. The All-Japan Kendo Federation, founded in 1952, serves as a bastion of this tradition, fostering a sense of community and respect while ensuring that the samurai spirit lives on. In stark contrast to the physicality of martial arts, the samurai's artistic endeavors reveal their duality. The samurai were more than mere warriors. They were poets, calligraphers, and tea masters. The stillness of a tea ceremony, a ritual once practiced by the samurai, emphasizes harmony and respect for nature, principles deeply embedded in the Japanese psyche today. The Sado, the way of tea, which flourished under the guidance of figures like Sen no Rikyu, remains a cultural cornerstone, teaching patience, humility, and the beauty of simplicity. Archaeological discoveries continue to peel back the layers of the samurai's past, revealing artifacts that tell stories of their lives. The excavation of the ancient burial site at the Yoshinogari site in Saga Prefecture has unveiled weapons and armor, providing insight into the transition from clan warfare to the samurai's emergence as a distinct class. Each artifact serves as a silent witness to the trials and triumphs that shaped not just a warrior class, but a nation. Japan's contemporary society, with its embrace of technology and innovation, also finds resonance in the samurai's relentless pursuit of mastery. The meticulous craftsmanship of katana making, still practiced today by master artisans like the legendary Yoshindo Yoshihara, exemplifies the blend of tradition and modernity. These swords, forged with reverence and precision, are not just weapons but symbols of a cultural identity that persists amid the rapid changes of the 21st century. Yet, the samurai's legacy is not without its complexities. The romanticization of their code of honor, Bushido, has at times obscured the brutal realities of warfare and the authoritarian regimes that arose from their ranks. The samurai's fierce loyalty to their lords often led to conflict and strife, a duality that modern Japan grapples with as it reflects on its militaristic past while striving for peace and harmony. As one walks the streets of Tokyo, amidst the neon lights and skyscrapers, the spirit of the samurai can be felt in the reverence for tradition and the quest for excellence. Festivals celebrating samurai culture, such as the annual Jidai Matsuri in Kyoto, remind the populace of their heroic past while fostering a sense of national pride. Here, amid the vibrant pageantry, the samurai are not merely relics of history, they are part of the living narrative of Japan. Thus, the samurai remain, not as ghosts of a bygone era, but as enduring spirits that shape the consciousness of a nation, their values interwoven with the very essence of what it means to be Japanese. In every disciplined gesture, in each silent tea ceremony, and in the relentless drive for perfection, the samurai's legacy persists, an enigmatic thread that binds the past to the present, urging each generation to honor the path forged by their noble ancestors.